Okay, we'll call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission to order. Today is Wednesday, September 6, 2023, and it is 9:01 a.m. We do have Commissioner Chapman appearing by Zoom, and so we do have a full commission here this morning. That being said, first up, we do have our public comment period. Do we have anyone here for public comment? Okay, we do not have anyone on the record for public comment. That being said, before we go through our motions, frankly, before I forget, I wanted to bring up, we received a letter from Governor Justice. This is through Delegate Caleb Hanna's legislative fund that each delegate and senator gets to spend in their communities. And Delegate Hanna, through the work of Commissioner Chapman and the Craigsville Commissioner Roberts, I pointed it and said the wrong name, Commissioner Roberts, and the Craigsville Little League Board, Delegate Hanna and Governor Justice, in respect, sent the commission a grant of $1,714, and that will go towards 2 AED machines, or one? One AED machine for Craigsville Little League. So I want to acknowledge Delegate Hanna, Governor Justice, and Commissioner Roberts on all that. That being said, would you all like to begin the motions?
Review and waive the reading of the minutes for August 16th, 2023.
Okay, that motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon review of the exonerations as presented by the Nicholas County Assessor, move to approve accordingly.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon review of the estate and fiduciary matters as presented by the Nicholas County Clerk, move to approve accordingly unless otherwise noted.
Okay, that motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon submission of budget revisions received from the elected officials and department heads, the commission will take appropriate action as deemed necessary.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon review of the invoices as submitted by various departmental offices, the commission will take appropriate action as deemed necessary.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. For terms of office expiring this morning, we do have one remaining position left open on the Nicholas County Farmland Protection Program Board. This is an unexpired term of Joseph Bell, with a term of office expiring June 30th of 2025. Mr. Bell did resign from the Farmland Protection Program. I have not been able to come up with any recommendations. Would like to hear if any from the commission. However, I did ask the Farmland Protection Board to see if they could come up with any recommendations. Ms. O'Quinn did let me know yesterday that they do recommend a James A. Brown of Mount Nebo to fill that vacancy. And if I'm not mistaken, he's been around farming for quite a few years, runs cattle and stuff like that, so very understanding of what this program would be looking for.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Okay, that motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Did Joan send you his contact information?
No.
Okay. I'll make sure that she does that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those against, the motion does carry. That being said, we'll take a short recess before our next appointment so that people can get in here for the estate.
Recording in progress.
Okay, we're here now concerning the estate of Clark D. Harrison, file number 10357. This is regarding a holographic will acceptance. And if you'd like to get it, I'll pass it down. Is this multiple copies or two different copies? Okay.
So on
July 28, 2022, a handwritten will was presented to our office by James Messenger. He said that he had not read the will, they had been handed to him in the Walmart parking lot, and he was told to bring it to our office. After that, it was believed that the will could possibly be a forgery because the decedent was missing an index finger. It was believed that he may have not been able to write that completely in his own handwriting. It was sent to the FBI for handwriting analysis. The FBI's findings were inconclusive as to whether it was a forgery or not. So we're asking how to proceed with this matter.
Anyone that believes, and you must be sworn in to speak, but anyone believes they might be wishing to speak to this morning, if you wouldn't mind, please raise your right hands. Anybody else, just to make sure? Keep your hands up, please. Yeah. Okay. Do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm that in the matter now in hearing, your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes?
I do.
Thank you. Okay. So, who should we let go first?
Well, I guess if somebody here is, I'm not sure who's presenting the will to be admitted to probate. This gentleman just showed up, as I understand it, and presented the will and left.
If you'd
Good
like to
morning,
be.
Commissioners. I'm Larry Hara, attorney, and I represent Ms. Ramsey, Annabelle Ramsey, who is the personal representative of the estate. We do challenge the will. We believe that it is inappropriate. We believe it to be a forgery. But I do believe whoever is presenting this will and asking for it to be accepted here by the county commission has the burden to prove that it is a valid, legal last will and testament of Mr. Harrison. So I don't believe it's on my client to prove it down. I believe it's on the individual who's asking it to be accepted to prove it up. So that's what I would ask here today.
And that's a correct statement.
So, who presented the will?
Mr. James Messenger.
Is James here today? Okay.
I guess the question is there anyone here moving that to the commission to admit the will to probate? If there's not, then it's pretty well done and over with.
That it would be rejected?
Yeah.
Would anyone like to speak to that?
I would like it for it to be rejected. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, no, that's.
Susie and Evie, I'd like for it to be rejected.
Okay.
And I can tell you, I've been an attorney almost 40 years, and I've never had someone walk up to me in the parking lot of Walmart and hand me a will to present to probate.
Well, and I'm just gonna ask, in seriousness, can you really send stuff off the FBI for this?
Actually, it was. I mean, if it's a
Really?
forgery, it's a crime.
Really?
Yes.
So, okay, okay. That makes sense, but I just have never heard that before.
So is there another will that this is?
There is
Yes,
another will.
yes, that we are currently probating under.
All right.
And she has qualified it.
Yes.
May I speak on that?
You didn't ask to be sworn in, but I can swear
Oh,
you
may I
in.
ask to be sworn in?
Yes. Hold on one second. You wanna stand and raise your right hand?
Yes.
Do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm that in the matter now in hearing, that your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay.
What's your name? Janice Messenger.
Okay.
Okay, on that will, the assessor spoke on the estate that the whole estate was to stand good for the part that was to represent Maxine Harrison. And she has turned that to where only 1 acre of land is to represent Maxine Harrison.
Now, is this the will we're reviewing this morning?
Yes. No, it's the one that the
Currently-
lawyer is representing.
The will we are currently probating under.
And so, are you speaking to a dispute between individuals that are
She has,
beneficiaries, or?
yeah, she has took that will and just put it as 1 acre of land for Maxine, where the whole estate is to represent that 1 acre.
Okay, now that's not what's on our agenda today, so I don't believe we could take that up.
That would-
She would have to file an objection to the administration of the will.
How do I do that?
Just something in writing explaining what your objection to it is.
Who would I,
You would have to file it with the county clerk, and then they can set it for hearing.
okay,
So, yeah, I don't think that's something we can address here this morning, but
okay. Thank you for informing me how to
I
do
mean, you may
that.
speak to Mr. Harry, he may be able to explain that to you.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, how they're admitting it, I'm not sure what the issue is.
Thank you.
That's not right, what she said.
now concerning the holographic will here before us this morning, is there anyone else that would like to speak to it before this commission should they make a decision on it?
I'd like to speak
Okay, concerning the holographic will?
concerning the 1 acre.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, that's not on our agenda.
Okay.
So until that would be contested and brought back before the commission, we actually can't rule on that.
Because I was an heir to that, but none of us really are wanting that. Yeah.
I'd be happy to speak.
Huh?
They're not taking that
They're
up
not
this morning,
gonna.
but I would be happy, I'm the one that wrote that
Yeah,
letter
'cause
to you.
I'm-
I'd be very happy to speak with you after
Okay.
this.
Yeah, unfortunately, where it's not on our agenda, we can't take it up, unless it would be brought back up in a notice through the county. So that being said, is there any further discussion from legal counsel or the commission concerning the holographic will? Commissioner Chapman?
No, I'm good.
Need a motion?
Yes, please.
Make a motion that we deny the admittance of the holographic will, on the basis of information provided.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those against? The motion does carry.
I'll prepare an order to get for signatures so that it's actually in the file, because that holographic will remain in the file.
Thank you all for coming in. We'll proceed accordingly.
Thank you.
I think I left it at
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I didn't understand what she said. Because it's been sent,
Yeah, Larry's waiting for you out there. Take care.
Patty, if you don't mind, go get Mr. Martin, please.
You want Mr. Martin?
Tony Martin. Well, let's go ahead and pause so they can get in here.
Recording in progress.
Okay, we're here now with Mr. Tony Martin, and this is regarding repairs to sewer system at the Deer Creek subdivision, manholes, etc. We're also joined by Robin Martin, so glad to have you this morning too, and you can have the floor.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys for listening to us today, and we came in, I represent Deer Creek Homeowners Association, I'm president. Robin is the treasurer. It seemed like a little bit of conflict of interest, but we were kind of cast into those roles whenever the president left abruptly a few years ago, and we've been kind of learning on the fly ever since to how the Deer Creek operates. So what we're here for today is we have several issues over in Deer Creek that we've been working on for a while and just trying to get everything back in working order. Right now, our biggest problem is we have some sewer mains that are leaking, groundwater's running into these mains. It's something that we've patched them in years past. It's happened several times, and once again they leak again. And it's inevitable. It's going to continue to happen. The man that takes care of our sewer plant, Mr. Scott Rader, does an excellent job, and he's been informing us for years that they're going to have major repair at some point. Well, we're at that point. We have to do something to keep those from leaking, and permanent fix instead of just continue to patch and repair. We contacted a company, and they are going to come and repair those for us, but it's going to cost us in the neighborhood of around closer to $17,000 to do that. We are a low to middle class housing development. Any of you that, some of you might be aware of the fact that I'm in here quite a bit, coming to court just to get payment out of certain homeowners there. It's a fight, it's a battle. We've done this now for several years. Rob and I have trying to just we could have thrown up our hands several years ago and said we just don't want to do this. We didn't want to be cast into these roles as president and treasurer, but nobody else wants to do that job. Just to give you an idea, every year we have a homeowners meeting, our annual meeting. We have 55 households in there. We have 125 to 150 people represented, and we get about 8 households, 6 I think maybe this past year, to come to our annual meetings. So that's how hard it is just to get cooperation sometimes and for other people to kick in. So that's the uphill battle that we face, just getting people to pay their homeowners fees. So right now what we're asking for from the county commission is if we can just have maybe some financial support in this $16,000, almost $17,000 bill that we face from, it's going to be, we went and got an estimate from American Concrete. That's what Scott Rader suggested for us. American Concrete, they are, of course, they specialize in these kind of situations. And Scott said this is a fix that would actually more than likely outlive our lifetimes. It's something that they come in and they work from inside. They drill holes through the sewer mains. They spray something and it goes onto the outside, and I guess it's a seal coat sort of thing. And it's supposed to take care of the problem for many, many years to come. Scott has informed us that many times if there would have been an EPA official inspector out there at certain times with all the groundwater flowing into our plant, that we would have been out of compliance and certainly been issued fines, probably violations, probably both. And he said, so it's something that we really need to take care of. And we have with us the estimate. And also you'll see, Robin's going to hand out to you, we also have this, I was in here before, I think the last time about road repair. And I came before the county commission and you guys informed us that there was really nothing that you could do there, and I understood that. We're still going to pursue every avenue we can for road repair because our roads are in pretty bad shape. Nothing's been done to them since Deer Creek addition was put in there. And we have 2 sanitation services that come in, we have a bus, we have rural mail delivery. We need to do that. And just to give you an idea of how much that would cost, the next handout Rollins will give you, we got an estimate on a road repair. We got an estimate on just 3 side roads in our development, and it was $120-some thousand. We can't touch that. We can't touch that. So $108,000, and obviously we had to turn down that. But we will seek to do some repair and patch and whatever we can just to get by until we can possibly find another avenue to go. So with that said, I mean, these people were actually just informed me last week because we contacted these people probably a couple months ago, and they just informed me last week that they were coming to do the repair on our sewer main project Wednesday of next week. And that $16,000 that it cost to repair them is basically going to be half of what we have in our budget in Deer Creek Homeowners Association. That would cut it in half. Now, not to mention that we'd like to have money on hand in case a blower goes down at the sewer plant, would probably cost us in the neighborhood of $8,000 to $10,000, which would put us in a critical state. And the reason this is such a concern is it's an environmental issue, and it could become a very big environmental issue if we don't get this done, and if we have something go down at that sewer plant to where Deer Creek runs right along the side of our sewer plant out there. So we just want to avoid that as much as possible, and we want to continue to move forward and try to get things in order with Deer Creek Homeowners Association, and it would give us just relief and peace of mind to know that if we could get a little bit of financial support for especially this huge project from the county commission, it would be much, much appreciated.
I think Mr. Cole is aware and Mr. Chapman is aware, and I'm not sure about Mr. Roberts, but we have a unique situation. We have our own sewer system. And I didn't know if you're aware, I just want to make sure, because we just kind of jumped into that without introducing that part of it. So.
Yeah, last time you guys were here, I said we were going to
Oh,
stop.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Now we have, since I think we talked to you guys, we put $4,000 into putting anodes around the sewer plant, which helps to stave off rust and wear on the sewer plant. So Mr. Rager had those installed. That put us in compliance. We are in compliance for that matter. But anytime that groundwater runs into those mains, which we've had some heavy rains this summer, Anytime that happens, it runs into those mains, it goes into our sewer plant, the sewer plant has way too much water running out of it. And we certainly would have been fined if there was, at certain points, there would have been somebody there checking it. So, that's what we're seeking, and that's why we're here today. So we appreciate your all's consideration in that.
Do we have any reason we couldn't contribute something? I mean, I know it's a private organization, but I mean, you're talking about environmental matters here.
Well, you've got 55 households that need help.
How many households?
55 households, probably anywhere from 125 to 150 people represented.
And we also have several senior citizens like us, but there's some other ones too as well.
County Homeowners Association is incorporated, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is a nonprofit organization,
Yeah.
yes, but yeah, yes, we're compliant with the Secretary of State's office, yes.
So out of these 55, how many do you guess are not paying their homeowners association?
We have a battle with about a half a dozen all the time. There's a few that, there's maybe 2 right now that we actually have liens on that we will not receive any fees unless those houses are sold, because there's no other way of collecting them. We can't attach wages, and because the person is retired, the homeowner is, it's his son that's living in the house. We also have, there's another one that there's others that we just, it's a constant, they'll get 3 to 4 to 5 months behind, and we have to continually send registered letters, and we have to come to court, and we have to almost threaten with liens on their properties, and I hate doing that. I don't want to do that, but we do that constantly. Robin, bless her heart, is constantly doing this and sending letters and making phone calls to try to get. But for the most part, she has done a great job, and they will eventually pay. But we don't get it on a regular basis. So our accounts can fluctuate up and down, and at any time, any major repair would just hit us really hard.
What happens if the system's flagged or shut down or?
That I don't know. I mean, Scott, I think, has informed us at some point, he said, you don't want to have the county or the state take over this plant, And for as old and antiquated as the plant is, Scott does a wonderful job of keeping it, we have put out money. That is our primary concern. That's where the majority of our money goes.
Chemicals, sludge removal, upkeep, that's where, and we have a maintenance fee as well in our development that goes for lighting, and we have electric bill on it, so I have a financial report, but our sewer plant expenses for last year were $20,707.
And the reason, and the chemical expense has gone up because the more runoff you have in your plant, the more chemicals it takes to treat with the water within the plant. So the water runoff, the groundwater coming into the mains has also increased our cost of operating the sewer plant. But Scott still yet has done a great job of keeping that under control for the most part. And like I said, if it was just that, we would probably manage to keep our heads above water, but we have road expense that could just drain our bank account tomorrow. I mean, that we couldn't even touch. And so we want to get that taken care of somewhere down the line over the next few years and try to see what avenue we can take to do that. In the meantime, this is something that's immediate concern for us right now. It's something that's just got to be done.
Mr. Quinn, did you want to add
You have
something?
one other option via the PSC. They could have an agreement with the Nettie Legacy Public Service District. People are in arrears. You can have their water cut off. Trust me, if you cut their water pay off, they will pay you.
And that's
Well,
where I'm at. You got about a quarter of your people that aren't paying, and they're dumping the sewage into that plant free of charge.
Can I?
Is that,
We went to the Nettie Legacy PSC.
We
and
had that agreement at one time, several years ago.
But they would not renew the agreement.
They didn't want
So
to
we don't have
re-enter
any.
into that agreement, back into that agreement.
Take it to the Public Service Commission. They can intervene.
That would help us maybe, but be quite honest with you, since we came to court and won a few cases against a few homeowners, and it made the paper, that helped us tremendously in getting our fees. Tremendously. It's not probably a quarter of the people that aren't there's only a small percentage that aren't paying their fees entirely. The others, they're just late. I mean, we can make 3 and 4 months behind, and then they'll pay up. They'll pay up. So it's not that they're not, there's only a few that aren't paying them at all, okay? But there's so many that we just can't count on a regular basis.
Some we also have people who own property that don't live in our development. And so that's, you know, they have lots that are, they're for sale. But, well, I don't know if they're for sale, I'm sorry, I misspoke.
So the folks who sub out, who do they anticipate should pay this, or who do they expect to pay?
Well, when somebody
The owner or the renter?
The owner.
Okay.
The owner still is, when we go to
They're
court,
responsible.
we can do, all we just have to deal with the owner.
And are they good about paying it, the owner themselves?
The ones that have lots where there are no houses on, okay, that went several years where nobody was paying anything, whereas there should have been a maintenance fee at least because there was no hookup.
Right.
So Robin had to do that. That's what we've been doing for the last 2 years, is going back and telling these people, hey, you have a maintenance fee. Maybe they weren't informed in the past, you know. And some of those people paid up. Some paid some and still haven't paid at all. But yeah, there was an $11 maintenance fee, which is applied to every household in there, to every lot.
Right.
So if you don't have a house on there, we need that maintenance fee, you know. So she took it upon herself to just, along with the other treasurer right before her that was only there for a few years, they realized that this is something that people hadn't been paying for several years. So basically, for the most part, I've got those pretty caught up, but there are still some that are in arrears. But it wouldn't be enough money that would even put a dent into what I'm talking about today. You know?
And that's what I'm trying to, so that boils down to less than $300 a person. I don't have an issue with that.
Right.
But what I'm looking at is long-term here.
Right.
I know you guys had come earlier and presented about some larger projects.
Yes.
That road, the actual sewer plant itself.
Yes.
And that's what I'm looking at in the long run. What can be done to address that?
And we are going to work for, that's what we're going to do. We're going to see what we can do to address that. We are in the process, we have about 3 people on a committee that are looking at amending our bylaws.
Right.
And to say this and this and this can be done if you don't pay, because our bylaws are so old too. They were 1979 when placed. So we're going to amend the bylaws to make there a penalty for that we can enforce if they don't pay their homeowners fees. That would help us tremendously too. Right now, that's not in place.
Are there late fees or anything associated if they don't pay?
There is
early?
interest that can be applied.
When we place a lien on their property, there's
Right.
interest, of
Yeah.
course.
So maybe, that could be an addendum into your
Right.
bylaws, is late fees and things like
Right.
that, and they start stacking up and adding up. 1, it'll make it, you can bring it into a legal system faster. 2, it'll hopefully augment the income that's coming in there for the folks that decide they don't want to do this except for when they want to. And 3, hopefully, like I said, some of those long-term things would be addressed. Because right now, it doesn't seem like you're gonna have the revenue if you have a system failure, a
Right.
major system failure, you don't have the revenue to deal with
And
it.
that's what scares me. I mean, and I live there. And like I said, there was a point where I just was, okay, I'm looking to sell, I want to get out, I don't want anything to do with this. But I've lived there, we've decided we're going to stay there. So right now, I hate to say it, but it's up to us, and we have the Vice President's Paul Miller, he can be here today. He's all in on just whatever we can do to continue to move forward, and let's not take 3 more steps backwards.
And that'd be the same with us, I think, is just partnering up to try to provide any assistance or solution in the long run, to make sure we don't hit those major snags and have to say, no, we can't support that financially because we can't afford it type thing.
Yes, and we're also, next year, we're looking at raising rates. That's not going to go over well with some people, but we've got, we haven't raised our homeowners' fees for many, many years. It's time to do it, and that'll certainly help. Especially if, you have the same number of households, but you have, more money coming in because of the, rate increase. That would certainly help us.
Well, that's my thing, hopefully that would encourage them to show up and be part of the democracy that takes place at voting.
Exactly, and we've had so many, it's discouraging moments to send out flyers and go around to each household, hand them out by hand. Please show up at the meeting, please do this and please do this, and we've never seen it. It's very discouraging. So, but we're, like I said, but we're not going to give up on just trying to make it a desirable place for people to want to come in and live.
And being a nonprofit, they should be able to solicit funds through the federal government, grants, and things like that.
And the local legislators.
Right. And that's where,
We've taken we've contacted our House of Delegates member. We have gone through some local organizations, but we've kind of ran into a blockage on a couple of avenues. And every time, we are directed to come back to the county commission for a meeting.
well, of course, we're the catch-all. The blockage, the blockades that you guys are hitting, is that something that can be resolved in the long run, hopefully?
Well, this is the biggest one, and it's, Mr. Tucker informed us the last time we were here. He asked, are your 501c3s up to date?
That's where I was gonna go.
Current. And I think, Mr. Tucker, if you remember, I kind of went yeah, and at the same time, I'm going, what is that? Okay, because I had never been involved in nonprofit organization, okay?
Understood.
I left here and I told Robin, I said, is that our compliance thing with the Secretary of State's office as a nonprofit organization? We go back, I find out that there had been no 501c3s done since 2013. So that hit me big time. So we called the IRS, we got to get this straightened out. Long story short, the IRS informed us what we'd have to do. We'd have to go back and dig up all those records, whatever we could do to get compliant. It was going to cost us about $3,000 for each year that we had to file to become compliant. That was going to be about $27,000. We don't have. Okay. Now, what we're entertaining right now is by the beginning of next year, dissolving Deer Creek Homeowners Association as far as the name, going under a new name, and start getting our 501(c)(3)s and doing them each year. And Robin will do a great job with that, I'm sure. And that way we can stay compliant and stay current. And that will also, now I know, help us in trying to get grants from federal and local organizations.
Resources.
But right now they're not, and that is something that we weren't informed of when we took it over. We had no clue. Nobody said this is what you have to do for a 501. So hadn't been one done since 2013. That was 9 years. That was 9 years of 501c3s. That would have cost us about $27,000 to get compliant and current. And you guys have a copy of our balance sheet there, so you know that we couldn't afford that.
And the other question I had. So on the very last bullet here, it says this project is estimated to take up to 30 gallons of F400 additional material that will come at a cost of $125 a gallon. And it says that is not included in the proposal. That's $3,750 right off the top there. Are you guys looking to pull that out of your own funds, or just there's a list of things here that says are not included?
We can pull that. We can manage that, and we do have a CD that we're basically looking at going and cashing in. And those CDs were actually put back for emergency situations such as a blower going down. A blower goes down, it has to be replaced right now. Now, right. Several years ago, one went down, it cost us $5,000. Don't even know what it would cost right now.
I got you.
So that would,
twice that.
yes, probably at least. So we're trying to make sure that this isn't something that'll put us in a critical situation with with our sewage system.
I want to make sure to give Commissioner Chapman an opportunity to speak too, because the disadvantage of Zoom and everything, just in case you have anything to add or any questions.
No, the only thing I think of was, do we have any other HOAs in the county besides this one?
Yes.
But not with a plant like this.
I'm not aware of one with a plant like this, but there are other
Yeah.
associations.
That's just it. I think that our situation is a little unique because of the sewage system, and we have to take, that, and that's our, like I said, that's our primary concern. It's our biggest expense, and it's not only a concern for the neighborhood, it becomes an environmental concern if something would happen, major breakdown or
I
something.
mean, there are a number of HOAs, I don't know what their situation about sewer plants is.
I think
And I will say, to their credit, they have one of the best operators around. Scott knows this.
Yeah, they've got good
Yes.
staff, that's right.
I think along those lines of versus making a contribution into a general fund that we would reimburse sewage expenditures. I mean, so we're not just making a contribution.
Yes,
could just-
yes, that would be fantastic.
Contribute directly to
Correct.
the company.
Yes.
That would be
So that would
fantastic.
address Commissioner Chapman's, I think, his point.
Yeah.
So I'd have the same one.
Well, and the other thing is it's like a special assessment. I know like in some HOAs, I was in down south on some properties, when something like this came up, they did a special assessment and charged all the landowners a little bit more to make the money back or something like that. So, there's a lot of stuff like that that could be looked into. And I know if you're having problems getting paid now, you're really gonna have problems if you have to raise it.
Right.
But it really comes down to that is it's the landowners or the people that live their expense. But I'm not against it in any way, and I think we should probably help them just simply because, just like Greg said, taking Scott's word for it is probably the best word you're going to get. So I would feel fine with it, but there's probably some money out there, other places they can look at too. I mean, wasn't that development started like through some of the West Virginia Housing Fund and things like that Is there any money out there like that? Have you tried to get any money from them to
Call-
like upgrade your road and things like that?
Sorry, let me interrupt you. Called the West Virginia Housing Fund, and they basically washed their hands of it whenever the last lot that they owned was sold off in there. And then the people I talked to literally acted like, I was speaking Greek, like they had no idea of anything like that. And so that was probably a couple of years ago I talked to them. So yeah, there was nothing there in the West Virginia Housing Fund at all. And you're right, Mr. Chapman, the special assessment, we put that on our handout for our latest yearly homeowners meeting. It was held in June, and I thought that'll certainly get people out. We're considering a special assessment for some projects that need to be taken care of, and we still got 6 households. So it was like that was not a concern for them, or they probably thought, we're not going to pay that anyway. And I'm just assuming that, obviously, but yes, it would be a battle to get. What would happen with the special assessment? I know it's easy just to say this, but I'm sure that it would be the case, and it may be at some point we have to do it. But we would get probably about a dozen households at best that would comply to the special assessment, and we wouldn't get it out of the rest, and that wouldn't be fair to the few households that did. So once we can get something amended in the bylaws to say if there's ever a special assessment, it has to be paid, or something to that effect, that we have a little bit of leverage, until we do that, it's not going to probably work. But anyway.
And that would be my suggestion. First off is to reinstate that 501c3. That'll open up a lot of financial resources. And then I would just start hitting with the bylaws. I really would. Make sure you're addressing anything that comes up, anything that you can predict in the future. Even if it's somebody owning the property and renting it out to somebody else, that there's some sort of small fee for that if they're not compliant, or you see if that's going to be a problem issue. That you can pull that back in, maybe offload some of the things on yourself. I think all we're doing is buying time.
I'm sorry.
Right now.
Yes, I wanted to ask Mr. Tucker too. We figured that's the only route to go to get these 501(c)(3)s back, is to dissolve the name and start under a new name.
Well, you solve
Is
that
that-
one, yeah.
Does that send up a red flag? See, I didn't want something to send up a red flag that, hey, we're trying to hide something by dissolving the name. I want to be straightforward and honest in everything we do, but I want to make sure we talked to an accountant.
That would be my suggestion.
We talked to an accountant, and she said that there's no problem with that. She would handle all of that. She would talk to the Secretary of State's office. She would do all that for us. And we thought, starting the beginning of a new year, next year would be a great time to do it. And all we'd have to do is change our name with the people that bill us. It's not like anybody has to change addresses or anything like that.
Well, the other thing is a fresh starting point as well.
Yeah.
That way you're not accountable for things that go back 10, 15, 20, 30
Right.
years.
Because we
Yeah,
have no records.
the bigger issue,
They've been
biggest issue,
traded around.
I would think would be your permit to operate you'd have to switch that.
Yes.
Right.
I don't know if that requires an inspection.
You mean with the fact, she said she would take care of that for us.
Well, that requires an inspection.
Oh, with this.
Yes.
Okay. I see what you mean.
I'm sorry, what did he say?
Might require to trigger an inspection from like the DEP.
Right.
Oh.
To
Which
research
that would
your
be,
system.
yeah.
Right, like you mentioned, you always
With
just.
Scott on our side, I think I'd be okay with that.
Great.
Scott's great.
Right.
But what these people don't understand is that if you lose this, your property values go down.
Yes,
Yes. And the detriment to the county for that is their property values go down, your tax revenues go down.
Sure.
But there's ultimately they'll pay, because eventually those houses will.
one way or another,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
What I think my recommendation might be is a 80% grant, which would be $13,400. It come out of coal severance, with the understanding that, the 501 will be reestablished. We're actually gonna be talking about a countywide grant collaboration here at 1020. So that might be something good to come to in preparation for that. They're actually gonna have a grant writer teacher come in and do all that. And just the understanding that, that this is a one-time contribution that, that would just kind of like a in-between support of, you got 55 houses and, tomorrow at 2 p.m. something goes wrong and nobody has a septic system, that's a problem. That's a really big problem.
They are going to bill us.
Yeah.
The American Concrete. They said they'll do the work and they'll bill us. How should we go about that then? We'll have the bill in our, we'll have that, we'll make copies of that, we bring it.
Well, should this pass and everything, we can work it out with that.
Okay.
Yeah,
They should be on terms.
the state auditor likes us to reimburse direct.
Okay.
fire departments, anything. So that's not a problem.
Okay.
But that would be my recommendation to consider.
Yeah. So 55 households, 150 people, I mean, that's less than $250 a household. And like you said, if you're looking at the evaluation of property and loss of revenue, and maybe 55 houses moving out of the county, we definitely don't want that, turn enough as it is. So, I mean, I'd make that recommendation, I'd make that motion, that we go 80%, which is $13,400 as a one-time. And like Commissioner Cole said, that would be contingent upon. Well, we are strongly urging that you reform that 501c3.
Yes, that's
And
definitely.
work your bylaws very adamantly and get
I
those
like
folks in
that
compliance.
suggestion about the late fees when they haven't.
Right,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Use your bylaws to your favor.
yes.
Yes.
I mean, it's just one of those things. But that motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion on anything else we need to consider?
That's where.
No issue in taking this up?
Out of coal severance, yes.
That's what I was gonna recommend. I don't know if I said that or not.
Yes, you did.
Is considered coming out of coal severance.
Motion.
Okay. Well, put on the record, did you say you made the motion? If you don't mind, I'll put on the record, Craig, if it's okay, you made the second. Is that acceptable?
Sure.
Because I thought he had. That being said, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those against? The motion does carry. So we've got a break here in just a second. We can talk about all the logistics, but glad to help
Thank you
out.
so much.
Thank you.
See things
Our
going on.
community will be very
Yeah.
appreciative.
Absolutely.
Wait on you then.
Yeah, Patty, if you want to see how you all can get in contact later. Sure. Give him a card or something and get his phone number.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman,
Thank you.
Mr. Cole, Mr. Roberts, we appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. We're here now with Sheriff William Nunley and Chief Deputy Johnny Evans. I don't know why I get titles and I forget names, I apologize. And this is concerning personnel and salaries for Nicholas County deputies.
Good morning, Commission.
Good morning.
I have a good deal of documentation to give you guys throughout county salaries. But as you guys know, good, we're struggling to retain, keep deputies, pay them enough money, all those things. So I would like to maybe go into an executive session to brainstorm a little bit about our salary issues and what we can do to try to, there should be 3 copies of everything.
I think there was 4 of that one.
Civil process law, or 2 laws.
Well, there probably is 4 actually, you're right.
Okay.
There's 4. There's lots of different documentation.
That's good.
It's throughout everything for all county employees, so food for thought for, that really doesn't, all this doesn't have to do with the sheriff's office, but food for thought for everything down the road. And these are all 55 counties of county employee salaries, chief deputy salaries, chief law office salaries, civil process salaries, all that. So I would like to be able to just talk with the commission to see what we can do to find salary money to be able to retain our deputies and you know, be able to attract more applicants.
And you said you wanted to request an executive?
Yes, please.
I have no problem with that if anyone else does. If anybody else wants to make that motion, or we can keep it open.
I'll make that motion, we go into executive session.
Okay, as pursuant to West Virginia Code 6-9A-4, it is 9:56 a.m. Of course, we'd like to request the commission and Clerk Painter remain in the room, Sheriff also, Sheriff Nunley, Chief Evans. You want to keep anybody else?
Whoever you guys like, it's
Okay.
fine with me.
Okay, yeah, if we could just leave it to the five of us here, we'll go off the record. Okay, for the record, it is now 10:51 a.m. Do we have a motion to exit the executive session? Motion's on the floor. Any further discussion? Of course, this is pursuant to West Virginia Code 6-9A-4. Again, it is 10:51 a.m. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. For the record, no decisions were made during the time of the executive session. We apologize to everyone for running late, but we have very important business to discuss, so we hope that you understand our situation. Now I'd like to open up the floor again for further discussion on this matter with Sheriff Nunley and Chief Evans concerning personnel and salaries in the Sheriff's Department.
Yes, I would make the recommendation that with the slots that we have available, right now with the sheriff's office, we're struggling to fill, that we use funds that's been set aside for those positions to supplement our salaries to the current deputies that we have here now, to be able to retain and keep and have well-trained officers down the road. I request this as, obviously, to be able to get us where we need to be pay-wise, but in the future, we'll be looking to add those positions back. I would recommend 2 of those slots be used for those salaries to be able to supplement the budget to retain these guys. And however, also look into funds with DRC and home confinement to be able to supplement as well.
Well, let's just have some discussion here. So as the sheriff mentioned, what that would mean is that would be from 20 to 18 positions, but I want to clarify. Law enforcement's been hard to employ. You can ask any city or county in the state, and we have not been at full capacity for some time now, so it's truly not a cut in personnel at this time. Historically, it most definitely is, and over time, I think we need to work back up to that point. But I do appreciate the sheriff and the chief deputy's leadership in seeing the value in this adjustment. I feel it's one of the only ways we can truly dig our ways out of the hole. We have had some retirements of some long-serving deputies, which that'll kind of supplement some area too. And also, we've talked about, and I want to kind of recommend a amount of $25,000 to come out of home confinement, and then perhaps we ask the day report, because we supplement their program with law enforcement presence, of the same. And I would also like to recommend perhaps the commission, sheriff, or some combination thereof approach the Board of Education as well to adjust or ask for supplement on their contribution for the pro officers, as that's not been negotiated for a while. And it seems to be that this would be an appropriate time to do that, and a very understanding time for the services that we provide them. I guess that's my overview. Do you all have any discussion, Commissioner Chapman, on this?
No, I feel pretty comfortable with it, but I think we should probably, looking at all the numbers and running the numbers, that it should be somewhere in the 7,200 range.
Okay, Commissioner Roberts?
Well, I just think it's an underpaid part of our county. I mean, we like you say, we've struggled. I've seen it from the citizen side, and I've seen it from the commission side. We're playing catch up with the rest of the world, not necessarily some of the police department or anybody else. It's local competition for our deputies, and with the rising costs of everything. I mean, going to the store, buy a bottle of pop, buy a gallon of gas. So we have a segment that very valued segment of our county system need to be augmented, and I fully support it.
Do you have an amount in mind?
We had talked about the,
Basically, so, we had Clerk Painter step out and run some numbers for us. Basically, what it looks like between the additional costs from those that have retired that we can recoup. Should we take 25 from home confinement, which is a sustainable revenue source because of that program, and also, let's see, cut the 2 positions that we could the clerk painter could comfortably come up with $69.97.
You need that to be in the 600.
And we need to get that to a $600 range, that's correct, for payroll purposes. So right below 66, and Commissioner Chapman's mentioned 72.
We're going to have to revisit it, and I mean, you're only looking at about 10 grand difference, and we're going to have to revisit it again, especially if you can get some out of home confinement. It's probably not going to be that big a deal. I mean, not home confinement, but day report.
How much more could we possibly have to come up to get to the 72? That's about
10,000.
10,000.
can't think of a place I'd rather put $10,000.
What's that?
So I can't think of a place I'd rather put $10,000.
Absolutely. So I mean, I guess we could perhaps try for that with DRC to see if we get a partnership, or at the end of the day, I guess you just come out of General County.
Correct.
I mean, is that? Commissioner Chapman, did you hear that?
Yes, I do. I'm fine with it.
So we could leave that, I guess, a little bit open-ended and figure that out over the next couple of weeks. I have no further discussion. Sheriff, Chief, do you all have anything else to add?
Well, you know, I just want to thank you for your time today.
I'd like to make a motion, but I can't. But is there anybody else willing to? Well, let's make a motion and discuss that. If anybody wants to make a motion to consider.
I'll make the move.
Commissioner Chapman makes the motion in the amount of 7,200.
per day.
Department-wide pay raise for deputies in Nicholas County. Now let's open it up to discussion. What would be easier for you concerning payroll? I mean, next payroll is probably a little bit tight, maybe October 1st. Does that give you plenty of time? I mean, is that sufficient to you all? What do you think? Commissioner Chapman, what do you, I mean, it's your motion, so I mean, is October 1st quick enough? You're gonna see if Bobby can do it quicker, or Clerk Painter can do it quicker?
I'd say we just leave the motion open to as soon as possible.
Okay, to your interpretation. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those against, the motion does carry. I know we're running late, but I want to say one more thing. Sheriff Nunley, Chief Evans, I appreciate your all's leadership and working with the commission. We're a small county with a lot of problems, but when we get together, clearly we can make things happen. And I appreciate both of your all's leadership on this. Clerk Painter, Commissioner Chapman, thank you all for doing some back work to lead up to this. And it's a good day for Nicholas County. So, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate
That
it,
being
Commissioners.
said, we're gonna run a marathon here. Try to let you all get back to your morning.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Chapman, thank you.
We have with us Nicholas County Homeland Security and Emergency Management Director, John McGinnis, concerning security cameras on Homeland Security tower sites.
Yes, over the last year, we've had 2 tower sites sabotaged. Now that we have a local contractor that's doing our maintenance on the generators and stuff, everything's up to date and up to par. What I like to do is purchase 6 cameras, and it's through our US Cellular contract with the county. Per year, the cameras usage is $150 a month, and the whole program itself is $1,254 a month. I would like to purchase those 6 cameras to put security cameras on all of our tire sites to protect that critical infrastructure, because if our communication goes down, then we're all pretty much in a pickle. And so for the safety aspect, I think this is a very good step, and I would like to proceed with this.
So the recurring cost is gonna be $1404?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I think we all have seen the thefts and the vandalism and the copper thefts.
What that last call cost us?
The last
The last one that he had to repair where we found the vandalism.
Oh, it was several thousand.
I thought it was over 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's put it in repairs or put it in security. So.
And our guys that are doing maintenance now are going monthly, checking everything, so we're definitely up to par on those.
Is there a contract to this? Or is it just a month by month?
It's month by month.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can't go every year with a contract.
Right.
I guess. So,
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure that's structured properly.
Uh-huh.
Any other questions? Do we want to consider this here this morning, take it up, or I'm comfortable with it? Commissioner Chapman and I, during one of the episodes before Director McGinnis was hired on, when I was stuck being the director, I remember Commissioner Chapman and I up at Richwood Tower trying to get up there and turn the tower back on, the generator off, and different things. So having these cameras, I could see the value very easily.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, that motion is on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All.
All those against, the motion does carry. Thank you for keeping that brief, Director.
Yes, sir.
We'll regroup after the meeting for the rest.
Yes, sir. Thank you all.
We have with us now Mr. Paul Witt, who is the General Manager of Quality Inn and Sleep Inn, and this is regarding the Bridge Ride 2023, requesting a proclamation of the Nicholas County Commission.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I realize you're on a tight timeline, so I won't take very long. Again, thank you for your time. I'm here on behalf of the West Virginia Bridge Ride 2023, requesting the said proclamation. We've got it on letterhead when we were here last time. I think everybody read through it, has agreement. I'm open for any questions or any additional information that you guys need. Please let me know. Otherwise, I'll turn the floor over to you again.
Are there any questions? Real quick with proclamations, we always try to read them so quickly. This is a proclamation celebrating the Nicholas County, West Virginia Gold Star Mothers Weekend on October 13th, 14th, and 15th, 2023. Whereas the Nicholas County, West Virginia Gold Star Mothers Weekend provides opportunities to support regional needs within the veterans community through the nonprofit West Virginia Veterans Assistance Project. Whereas the Nicholas County, West Virginia Gold Star Mothers Bridge Ride event has raised thousands of dollars that was donated to the West Virginia Gold Star Mothers to assist veterans' needs throughout the state of West Virginia. Whereas through the Nicholas County, West Virginia Gold Star Mothers Weekend, participants, sponsors, volunteers, businesses, and residents will throughout Nicholas County, West Virginia, will come together to host, entertain, and serve all of those who participate in an effort to benefit the West Virginia Gold Star Mothers organization. Whereas the Nicholas County Commission recognizes the important contributions of the Nicholas County Gold Star Mothers Weekend to this county and its citizens. Now therefore, I, Garrett Cole, President of the Nicholas County Commission, and on behalf of the Nicholas County citizens, do hereby proclaim the above-mentioned Gold Star Mothers Weekend in Nicholas County, West Virginia, and hereby encourage and commend all persons who are committed to and work toward enhancing this program. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the great seal of Nicholas County, West Virginia, to be affixed to this, the 6th day of September, in the year of our Lord, 2023. Do we have a motion to approve this proclamation as presented?
Motion.
That motion is made by Commissioner Roberts. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. And it does say, put my signature on it, and I appreciate Paul putting it on for all three commissioners. Again, we think this is a great program, and we're just glad to be a small part of it.
Well, likewise, I am as well, and thank you on behalf of the West Virginia Gold Star Mothers and Ridge Rakuten also. We certainly appreciate it and we look forward to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You can stay in line.
God, taking care of.
She's on it.
Make a quick copy for
Yes, ma'am.
it.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. That being said, we now have with us Ms. Tamara Mullins, the Executive Director of the Nicholas County Community Foundation. This is the Community Foundation requesting sponsorship for the very first Nicholas County nonprofit collaboration.
Thank you all for giving your time for me today. I appreciate it. And I'm going to try to cut it pretty short for you. The Nicholas County Community Foundation works hand in hand with our Nicholas County nonprofit organizations and with Students for Scholarships. And annually, we are giving somewhere between $220,000 to $240,000 a year supporting those organizations and students. What I would like to do is start this Nicholas County Nonprofit Collaborative Group. And for the kickoff, what I wanted to do was have a big event where we were able to provide something to the organizations that will be invaluable to them for years to come, which is a grant writing class. There are tons of grants out there, and a lot of people don't take advantage of those. A lot of organizations don't because they just don't have the education and know-how to write those grants. So providing this service to them, educating them, I think will be a helpful first step and a great way to start this collaborative group. I envision from that first one then on to just be able to meet quarterly, network, trade ideas, projects sharing, and even maybe some fund sharing for those projects. So for the first one, the Truist West Virginia Foundation is going to provide the venue and food, which I've given in your packets the estimates for. On the other side of it is the grant writing instructor, which is $28.80 to be exact, for her services for the day, travel, and that is for 50 people for a basic grant writing class. And so my request to you guys is sponsorship of something within that $2,880. The foundation is more than willing to also put a little skin in the game with it too, but we have a small operating budget as well for our foundation. So we were hoping to collaborate to get this thing started. And like I said, I think it will be very beneficial to all of the nonprofit organizations in the county.
Is this something we can consider out of economic development? Or would that be? That's what I was thinking. Okay. No, I appreciate you coming in. I think this is a good thing. We as a commission, as many commissions did, enjoyed the days of ARP and all this federal money, and of course that's kind of coming to an end. And so as we tell these groups that they need to get a little more creative in their funding of their projects and organizations, I mean, what better way than to bring in someone to educate the community on this. In fact, I think there's an element that the park staff and our grant writer in the county might even need to be there to get some refresher and some ideas.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think this would be beneficial to the county itself. Commissioner Chapman.
I'm fine with it.
Commissioner Roberts.
So this will be offered to how many people?
We can do 50 for free, and then I would say if there are others after that, I think the price was like $70 for the day, unless we were able to get over our sponsorship amount, which I would automatically turn and put that into use for more funding for other organizations.
Do you have an estimated date we can do this?
I would like to do it early November, but I just have to get the funding secured before.
Still plenty of time to advertise is what I was getting at.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Maximum participation. Good way to pull funds in the county.
What is it?
Good way to pull funds in.
Absolutely. Have you approached any other groups yet for sponsorship or anything?
I did the Summersville Rotary Club this morning, and I've also put a call out to the New River Gorge Development.
Yeah, NRGRDA.
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
so
I just say the abbreviation, so don't worry.
So I'm waiting
Yeah.
to call from them, and also Philanthropy West Virginia, I'm asking for sponsorship. And like I said, this is a one-time ask. Any meetings prior or after that will be done on our end. We won't need any funding for those.
As president, I can't make a motion, but I mean, I would recommend $2,500 sponsorship of this event. This is a one-time thing, right? I mean,
Right,
this is,
yes.
This is a kickoff, a very important kickoff. And I believe that $2,500 will go a lot further here than if we gave it to one organization or the other. And again, with our opportunities getting a little bit more tight again, I think that's an appropriate use of those funds.
You need a motion?
Yes, please.
Motion.
Okay. And if you don't mind, just state the main amount for the record, just to make sure.
$2,500.
Okay.
And where do you want to pull from?
I believe
Also,
economic development.
Make off,
I mean, you don't see
Coal reallocation.
coal reallocation. But you
Okay.
don't see. I mean, I think it very well spurred a lot of economic development. Is there any other further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those against?
Motion does carry.
Thank you, sirs. I
Thank you very
appreciate your
much.
time.
Absolutely. That being said, we're still a half hour behind, but Rhonda, we're now here with Rhonda White, the acting president of the Old Main Foundation. This is concerning a grant on the flooring at Old Main.
Thank you. I'm Rhonda White, and I want to introduce Joe R. Strickland. Former Joe Strickland was chair of the Old Main Board, and this is a different Joe Strickland. I'm here to bring conclusion to our original grant. I believe this is my third time here on the flooring project in the basement of Old Main. At Mr. Commissioner Chapman's suggestion, we had the moisture level, we had holes drilled in the floor, the moisture level checked, was frankly awful. It was about 88% by the women's restroom and 92% in the closet and in front of the men's restroom. So every kind of flooring that we talked to about this said that we had to first properly apply a moisture barrier. We had a different contractor ground down the floor for us at a cost of $14,880. Apparently that process was not correctly done to accommodate the moisture barrier that we need there. So it had to be reground, a new moisture barrier applied before we could ever consider what the topping layer would be. We also talked with the local flooring contractor about a vinyl planking application, and there was a problem with that, according to them, because we have several elevation changes as you go from the main level down the hallway to the door. So we ended up going with the epoxy covering, which was 3 layers above the moisture barrier layer. The low bid on that, well, we got 2 bids that were exactly the same. I suspect they're exactly the same because they were obtained off the square footing. And they were the same $16,000. The contractor that we chose was Maverick Construction out of Morgantown. They do nothing but epoxy floors. He did all the re-grinding and the moisture barrier and the flake level, and then 2 layers of the epoxy within the $16,000 bid. He didn't overcharge us or charge us for extra, which I expected, but he did not do that. So that part of the project is completed. It looks wonderful. We're very hopeful that the moisture problem in the basement, other than the moisture coming through the walls, which is a separate problem that we have to deal with as of yet, that we will at least have mitigated it some. So I would like a final disposition of our original grant, but it's much lower. Originally, the estimates that I handed you were more like $25,000 just for this portion of, and that's after paying the $14,000 that we paid on the first phase. So now, at least up there by the kitchen and bathrooms, it's finished at about a half the cost originally asked for.
Now, what was the Maverick bid?
Maverick bid was $16,000, and that was for everything, re-grinding it again,
Yeah.
moisture barrier, flake barrier, and 2 coats of epoxy.
But you received 3 bids, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Okay. Any discussion?
I think this needs to be just like what we had to say to Richmond the other day. We just don't have funds for something like this.
Commissioner Roberts?
All right, so, first time. I would have agreed if we had done that the first time they had approached us. We have asked for deliverables. We have asked, this is your 3rd time back. You have went and done, to my knowledge, everything that we've asked you to do. So I think for us to provide no support at all would be, I don't want to use the word unfair, that's a child word. I don't think that would serve us as commission. I don't know what type of funding that would actually come from, but I think we need to provide some level of support to some degree.
I'll echo Commissioner Roberts. I mean, we've worked through this, been to a couple meetings with you, and I know you all worked things over, went with local people as best you can, and worked it over. And so, I mean, I would have to say, now, I mean, with the understanding, our free money days are over. I mean, with ARP, with, what was the first one? I can't even remember. It's long gone anyway. I mean, we're back to the old commission. I mean, by all means. However, it seems like this is an important project, and I think this is one of the ways that we could step up and help. And then, we heard about the grant writing opportunities and stuff like that to hopefully help with the other projects. So I'll recommend a motion to approve the $16,000 out of Cole Saverns. But that would just be my recommendation.
What we've done with the past few groups is we've put in an 80%. That would be mine. So I'm going to make a motion that we fund $12,800 to be 80% of that $16,000.
No worries.
The motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Is that, I mean, you all can come up with the rest and.
We will fundraise, we will get the rest.
Okay. Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion does carry.
I want to thank the 3 commissioners for, I think, a very wise decision. We are fundraising at every opportunity, and we have some money coming in from some past reunions that I feel certain that we can cover the difference. I appreciate this. I do want to add one more thing that just came up this morning, and I want to be first in line for at least 1 or 2 spots with Mrs. Mullins' grant writing thing. And I want to advise you of one other situation while I'm here, and that is that we have had a private donor donate the time of the original architect and engineer that went over Old Main in the 90s. We have since your last meeting had a top to bottom analysis of Old Main, what it needs, how much it will cost, and which is the projects in there that are most urgent. Pursuant to that, we made just this past weekend, Joe was instrumental in helping me get that in, a grant request to the NCCF, led by Mrs. Mullins, for our most urgent next need, and that is to vent the attic to stop the moisture condensation from the top down. So basically, we're trying to get rid of the moisture from the top down and the bottom up. And these 2 pieces will work very well in preserving that building. We have other identified needs, and that's why I'm looking forward to that grant writing seminar so that we can try to find other sources of funding for those. Excuse my gravel voice. It came from all that concrete dust that I breathed while they were grinding the floor. But thank you for your time, thank you for your consideration, and thank you for coming to visit. And Commissioner Chapman, thank you for sending some people out to measure the moisture levels.
Thank you. It's like a lightning round. So now, we have BJ Donahoe with the teen court, as the teen court coordinator. And this is requesting the purchase of a laptop to be used for the Sparrow Academy as a part of a teen court.
Yes, and I'll be very quick because I have to be at Go-Mart at 11:30.
Okay.
I'm requesting it. We have been just trying to scramble at the Sparrows Academy to get, because we have to have classes like on vaping, DAPI, and stuff like that, anger management and all those. Kim Fields graciously got us a grant for $2,500 and got us a program that is geared towards the juveniles. And we can use the big screen TV at the DRC. We just need a laptop or something to get it from the internet up to there. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to hold a lot of data. There's not going to be, I just need something to.
Present.
Yeah, and it can be a used one if there's one here in the courthouse somewhere that nobody's using. I don't have to have a brand new laptop, just something, and like I say, it doesn't have to be extravagant, just something that I can use to present the slideshows and do the classes and be able to print the handouts for the kids and stuff. That's all.
We have available funding specifically for.
What is it?
How many children are you currently doing?
Right now I have 15.
15
in the program.
You guys have done, went out and done community service?
We have,
Yes.
and I got a call yesterday from a Jane, I might say Bard here, I'm not sure, in Ridgewood.
Joan Bard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Requesting that, because we went and painted the big shelter by the pool right before the pool opened, and there's a Dane Park down near the Go-Mart, they want that shelter painted. So I'm gonna take a group of kids, we're working on a date that we can all be there and take a group of kids.
You guys are traveling to more off-site to facilitate the children being able to make those, yes.
If we need to,
Yes.
yes. Normally, we just do it around
Right.
here. That Indian Park in Craigsville, I need to see if they need anything done. We'd like to, because I have kids from Craigsville, I have kids from Richwood, and I don't want to do all the community service here. I think we need to go in the communities all over that the kids are, and they're doing very well. I just started doing it in October, and we've had probably 70 kids go through the program, and we've only had to send two out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're doing pretty good.
Chance to capture them before they get too far outside the circle.
That's the goal, is to get them before they get in the adult system. Some of these kids are carrying burdens kids shouldn't be carrying.
Adult problems on child minds.
And once you get to know them, I use the upstairs at the DRC as the safe room, and I have to build a bond with a trust bond, and some of the things these kids tell you are, some of them don't have an ideal home life, not all of them, but yeah, some of them have a bad home life, but we're getting there. I think we're making a difference, but just anything I can use to get the, off the internet there to the big screen and be able to print handouts and stuff for them, so.
I think for longevity and maybe to meet whatever requirements, system or demand requirements off of the laptop, I think we just pick them out and set it aside.
Like I say, I don't need a lot of, one with a lot of space, memory or whatever, because all the main paperwork I do as a teen court coordinator, I just do on my computer. So it's just mainly for down there and to present everything at our classes. We'll be doing it, because we've been doing it ourselves, but it's a scramble to find things on the, this program is geared for kids this age. And it covers substance abuse, tobacco cessation, anger management, peer pressure, decision making, all that. They did the program, created it just for our group. So, yeah, and it was at no cost to us.
Well, I mean, I would even just say, as long as the funds are available in the teen court, I mean, I know it's not a lot, but, it's
right.
Just,
No, we don't.
I mean, a motion of approval to proceed with that purchase.
Okay.
Is that too open-ended or anything? No. Okay.
Okay. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, I appreciate you guys. Y'all come anytime and see them. Yeah. They're
We
a
went to
good.
that one, it was interesting.
They're a good bunch of kids.
Absolutely.
They really are. And we're the only teen court in the state of West Virginia that did through the whole summer.
Really?
Everybody else shut down, the school ended, and are just now picking back up, and we have went all through. And the school, last year, because by the time the kids get to me, they're starving. They've had lunch at like 11:30, so I called the previous superintendent, and she was gracious enough to add us in the after-school program. And so I go up there every day and pick up food. That program will start up again the 18th of September. So, yeah, because they're starving by the time they get to me.
Yeah.
All right, I thank you guys.
Yes.
Do I just get with you? Okay, thank you.
You made that motion? Yes. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. Not official.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll take a quick recess to get everybody in the room for the next one.
Recording in progress.
Okay, we're here now. Leslie's not coming.
She's on vacation.
So we're here with Region 4 Planning and Development Council, John Tuggle, and, oh my goodness, Jamie Baker, thank you. I forgot 3 names today, so by all means, I apologize. And first up, we're talking about the Wilderness PSD water system upgrade. This is the phase 1 of the project, and a resolution is being presented here this morning, number 5, resolution number 5, funding request and project update. So.
I have that.
Okay.
I have resolution number 5 for the design and construction of the water system upgrade phase 1 project for Wilderness Public Service District, and requesting funding from the commission of $291,055.29 for the payment of payment for Chinaki Construction Incorporated.
Now, this is the main line upgrade that's going on currently, right? Correct. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that seems to move along pretty quickly. I've been impressed by that, so definitely excited to see that. This specific project, Patty, what did we commit to on this? Was it the 750?
The letter of commitment is attached in the back.
That's right, $634,508.
We reduced that at one point.
Can you
I
elaborate?
don't know remember when the bids came in lower, and, I don't know if that's the figure we reduced it to or not, Bobby probably know better than that.
That is the
But
figure.
we reduced it. I think
Reduced
it was
to
like
the figure.
160,000.
Is the 6? Yeah, because maybe that's where I was getting a 700 range in my head.
It should be in the 400, upper 400s now.
No, it's, the 600 is what it was reduced to.
Now, this letter,
I don't know what it was originally.
okay, yeah,
We did a letter to send down to Infrastructure Council when you all reduced the amount of your bid, because what they wanted to do is reduce the amount of their funding, and they chose not to because you reduced yours.
right. Now, this letter with the 634,508 is from September of 2021.
That's the last letter, I believe.
Okay. Does that sound right to you too? Okay, okay. So that was reduced from 734,508.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Now, I believe this is the first funding request on this project for the commission, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought so also. I just wanted to make sure. What's this WDA EEGF?
That's the Water Development Authority's Economic Enhancement Grant Program.
Okay.
Figure out the acronyms.
Understood. Understood. So yeah, and so for the public's benefit, this resolution is a total of $323,877.94. But as mentioned, it's only requested the commission of $291,055.29. Are there any other questions? I mean, everything looks acceptable to me.
Make a motion that we fund resolution number 5 for the amount of $291,055.29.
Okay, that motion is on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. Do you have an actual resolution to sign? I have the
I do not.
purchase order, or do you need one?
I don't need your signature on
Okay,
that, because
okay.
what I have has been signed by the commission, or the PSD.
Okay, so here's the PO sign, so Patty will process that through here shortly, and they'll be on its way. So, and then also, while we're here on the topic of Wilderness PSD, if we could please spend just a few moments here discussing Sugar Grove.
And I'm glad WD's here, and he's been around for a while too.
You've been around a long while.
This project has been new. I've been in my position almost 10 years. He's almost 10 years retired. And it was well before that Sugar Grove was being considered. And currently, you received an email from Leslie, I think, maybe yesterday. As far as qualification for HUD Small Cities Block Grant, I think that's part of the what's been talked about for a good while, is that was determined based on the data that we have as ineligible. And I want to make it clear that Leslie works very hard at this, and she's worked with Wilderness PSD for a good while, so she's got the institutional knowledge for this stuff. Back the word, she picked it up from WD way back when. So anyway, she's very committed to making this happen, and so are we. I mean, as far as that goes, it's just very difficult. I mean, we went back to Abandoned Minelands with their program to question them on that, and then they sent their response that it's not eligible for that. and that's all we can go by there. The layout and the numbers for it being pretty expensive project, that we depend on our engineering firm to give us those numbers, and it's pretty expensive right now. It's well over $100,000.
Now, that's the proposal from Runa Road, down the hill, up the hill, just no hill.
Well, there's two phases of it. Jack can probably answer that better than I can.
So I remember at the meeting, it was discussed to consider Samantha Neff Road, and that was kind of pushed to the wayside. I mean, is there a reason why?
Yeah.
I mean, we have support letters from all over showing elevations and stuff, and it seems to line up. And I'm no engineer, I'm not trying to pretend to be one, but I would like to better understand why Samantha Neff's off the table.
Well, part of that issue is capacity. It can be done. It's not that it can't be done. But we looked at it, did a cursory review of it as far as the length of pipe and the amount of other appurtenances that would be required. It's probably going to be about the same amount anyways, even if you go the other direction.
It is not. Categorically, it is not. And I use today's figures, the bids that are out there being worked right now. From there, you can get water to Samantha Neff Road, even with the head loss. You can get it and get down the hill to supply the hillside lane without anything, and to provide the other 4 to 5 customers up at the church itself. It would take either a high pressure 7.5 horsepower or so constant run pump, and it's basically constant run. Either that or a booster station down at the farms on 17/2 to a small tank, 7,500 gallons. I've got the estimates there, and I use some of your figures. I use some of the figures that come from the LIPS extension right now, where they're charging $41 a foot to install a 4-inch C900 DR14 and DR18. In Pickens project, going from Helvetia to Pickens, it's $34 a foot. Okay, that's current bids, bid in April, and they're just now starting to lay the line. But, you know, it is, the hard work of getting the water to 3,000 foot, it's already been done. It's sitting in a 125,000 gallon tank on Snow Hill at an overflow elevation of 3,050 foot. I know this because I was there when it was built. I know this because I got the money to do the project back in 2002. I was out there every day. I've been an inspector for a number of years. And this is based on real world. Is it going to go up in the future? Probably. I think now is the time to at least apply for funding from RUS, from ARC, from the Infrastructure Council, and from the other infrastructure money that's out there. And I think you can do it all based on today's rate. And that's all you can really do is what it costs today for about $2.5 million. And that's total 4-inch line. DJ was concerned about going less than 4-inch line on any extension. That's all 4-inch line. So, and it's all state right of way, and it's all gravel road or dirt road. So there is no jacking and boring. It's all to be open cut. You have to cross the road. You do need casing if you do, but it's not a big deal. And like I said, the hard work, you've got 2 pump stations right now, one down there just beyond the tanks on Old Nicholas Road, and the pump station at Bear Waller to pump it up to the 3,050 foot level. The level up there where it comes on Sugar Grove Road is, memory serves, 2,972 feet. Those are accurate. I applied them to the plans that we did for the last couple of extensions. It's within 2 foot. Simple computer program. You click the mouse and it gives you the elevation, and it's free. It's right on with the tanks. It's right on with the tanks at Bear Wallow. It's right on with the 2 tanks down at Mount Nebo, which are 2 200,000 gallon tanks. You have 25 to 30 people, and you're going to average, the PSC says 100 gallons a household. It's not that. They probably wouldn't run past 2,000 gallons a day. So even if you put a small tank in, like a 7,500 gallon tank, that's more than an adequate above ground. And to pump that use of water every day from the new pump station just to go to a tank, you're looking at a couple hours. So it's not going to disturb it. Right now, Wilderness is still pumping about 300,000 gallons a day, same as they were 20 years ago. they have the ability, they are buying some water from Summersville via the Garlic Public Service District. So they still have capacity for another 25 or 30 customers, plus the regular growth that they have in 90 Network.
And as far as the small city grant, I had asked Leslie if for a copy of those forms that were turned in. And because myself and two others passed those forms out, and we only knew of two that had put on the form that they did not want the water, and she had 5. And I just asked for a copy of them, and she said she had to check with the small cities to see if she was allowed to give them out. There is no names, no dollar amounts, no nothing on those forms, so I'm not questioning her ability.
I'll address that. Part of our job is to protect you,
Correct.
protect us. That type of information, if you give her the authority to ask for any of that information, that's fine. But we need to know that from you, that she has the authority to ask for that information, because if during an audit, later on, it just comes up and you ask for that on your own, because you live out there, so you would be a citizen at that point.
Not exactly, because I was the one that the PSD requested to do the survey.
Understood, but they still need to give you permission to give that information out from the commission. Okay, so we do that to protect, that's me. Don't blame us.
So can
Oh, no, and I'm
the
not.
commission request that?
Yeah, sure you can.
Consider
And
requesting.
It's not a big deal, it's exactly what you said,
Yes.
but it's supposed to be anonymous information.
Well, I'd like to request that directly to the commission.
That's fine.
Yes, and then the
It's-
three
it's
of us
not- It's
could-
not a big deal.
Right.
You can look at it and see whatever.
Right, we can decipher it.
All we do is take the information we're given and try to protect
Absolutely.
you.
I know, I understand that.
Okay.
Right.
I'm
And
glad that
that's
you do have
what
a
we
change of
tried
mind
to
like that.
do. We actually took, with the envelopes, we put Region 4 return address, Region 4 address. But however, had I chosen to do it differently, had I gone and handed it to them, let them fill it out, took it back myself, I still had the same opportunity to copy those reports.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But the way it worked out, we work for you guys, okay? You understand?
Yes, I respect that. Absolutely.
And
I didn't realize that
this
was
is
actually a
where it
problem.
becomes very sticky when an employee of the entity does the work that actually is going to get the service. So we try to make sure that there's nobody can point any fingers at anybody at the end of that road. And at the end, when we get all the information together, then we can provide that to you. It's not slowing the project down, not doing anything. We can just provide it to you. We just don't want to get ahead of ourselves, especially when you can take information and you look at it and you misunderstand it, misconstrue it, and it gets out there. We'd rather have it all together. Donna Norman got all the institutional knowledge in her outfit. She worked for WD way back when. She's the one that looked at this stuff, okay? So that's entirely just to protect the commission, protect everyone involved, make sure we get it the way it's supposed to be. Not a problem to give you it's your documents. We work for you.
Well, and it'll be treated confidential.
Yeah. So that's not a problem at all, but we need to have that from you guys.
So all this being said, I mean, is there anything the commission can do to try and support funding initiatives, look into other funding initiatives? I mean, I know
Well, I
we've
mean,
seen a few no's.
he mentioned a number back here, but there's most of those have match, and they have to have other dollars coming.
There's always competition, and you don't get anything unless you ask.
Well, that's not what I'm getting at. The match comes for the PSD, that is gonna be the one bearing the load on this thing. If they have to borrow money, then it raises rates, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah,
So-
we borrowed money practically every project. Remember, I borrowed $1.2 million in 2002.
Understood.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, they have to make that decision.
They do.
I'm not
So
arguing with you.
It's up to the board.
Yeah.
It's totally up to the PSD board.
Yeah, and
Which
they
they
have to
appoint,
weigh
they have no
the-
control of.
I mean, is
They have
that
to
like
weigh
an
the
80-20
operation.
situation? Is it situational,
It depends
90-10?
on the
Depends on the
program.
program.
It varies.
And it depends on the program.
So, just to establish some common ground here, I believe we all agree that this project is feasible.
It's doable.
Feasible. It
It's
can happen. I mean, there's
doable.
nobody in the room that can argue that point, right? To
Well,
some
I mean,
degree, it's a
I
doable
think
project.
the agencies could
Physically.
argue feasibility as far as cost.
Well, physically. I'm getting to that
Physically,
part.
correct. What he
Physically, it
said
can be
is as
done.
doable as
We can put
doable.
pipes somewhere and pumps somewhere and regulators and valves and tanks, and we can actually accomplish this, right? I mean, we can all agree to that point. And then the variance comes in at cost. So you guys have some costs that you're looking at, you have some costs you're looking at as well, right? And then to me, the main hurdle we're looking at here is we're looking at $84,000 per house. Now, this is where it comes in, where I would look on you guys as a subject matter expert.
One other hurdle.
That's on his numbers, is what I'm saying.
No, I'm not talking about, the cost is the cost, whatever it is. you know,
Correct.
that. But we have to have a preliminary engineer report, and we have to have a Rule 42 accounting.
Understood. But I mean,
Somebody has to pay for that up
on a
front.
way 10,000
What
foot
are you
view
looking at
here,
on that?
what I'm looking at,
Just, I mean, and I won't hold
PDR,
you to
if I were
it.
guessing, would be at least $15,000-$20,000.
We could probably, I mean, for this, since we kind of already looked at it, I think it would be at least 10, I'm sure.
And then the other,
was the
Rule
last
42,
time.
Mr. Atkins still do the,
Not that I'm aware of it. I don't know.
it's just like an accounting review of
What they have to
PSD.
do, it's a document that the Infrastructure Jobs and Development Council requires for an application. And it's called a preliminary, Rule 42. It goes in with the application, and it's an analysis of their accounting and their operation and.
preliminary
all
to
the
a
dollars
rate
going.
increase is basically what it is.
Yeah, and, you know, so sometimes you don't need a rate increase, you get all grant, so.
Yeah,
But you still have to have that document.
You still have to have the Rule 42, I'm well aware.
Could we get, I don't want to go too far in the weeds and hear me out to the entire end of this point. Could we request quotes on those two items to see what
Yeah,
the cost would be? And by no means,
We
total
can take a
transparency,
stab at the budget.
by no means am I trying to commit this commission to paying for that or anybody else to pay for that, but just to get an idea of that cost.
Well, we
can
would
look
give
over
you
the numbers
budget
again.
numbers based on, you know, the engineer, whatever his budget number is, and then we can solicit for an accounting one, but that, I'm not sure that for this project that they've been actually procured. So that would be a budget number that may go up or down.
Understood. Even just a close estimate, like I said,
Okay,
we
yeah,
wouldn't
we
even
can
have to
get
hold
that.
to it,
We can
but
get
just
that.
an idea of what commitment we might
Correct.
consider.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, by all means, explain that to the engineers and accountants, that it's a consideration only at this time, but just to get an idea of
No, I
that.
understand. We can do that.
Okay. I think that'd be a good step too.
And then, you know, we can, you know, solicit for, and ask the powers that be for various grants, loans, whatever. It's what we do. That's our job, but it's an uphill battle for this one. It's an expensive.
It's
one.
never easy.
Yeah.
Never has been easy.
Yeah. That's why it's been 20
But
years.
if you don't try, you don't get.
No, I get it. It's
Generally speaking, if you get one block of funding, you will attract the others.
Agreed.
Because I got $1.2 million, the only PSD in the state that year that got ARC funding. I got $1.2 million grant from ARC. And then lo and behold, the rest came about.
It's like Hinkle Mountain was what, 32 years?
Yes.
It can be a
It's a
time.
long way up Hinkle Mountain.
It can be a time deal. So,
Pickens is getting water. Have you ever been to Pickens? And they're taking it up 800-foot elevation through a series of 2 pump stations and 2 tracks to get water to 226 people.
well, I appreciate that extra note on Sugar Grove to discuss what options might be. And I appreciate that information. Thank you for coming in too.
I'm just trying to be
Process.
helpful. I don't have a thing in this. I got water.
No, absolutely, no, absolutely. Appreciate your input too. And Patty will have all this worked out today. So,
Well,
thank
that,
you all for
yeah,
coming in.
okay. What you need is a PER and a budget and the accounting to go after more, go after an application.
Okay.
I will attend the next Wilderness PSD meeting, present what I've told you all today, and see if they'll do a motion to actually start the process of application or consideration for application. And again, it's up to them. Were I still a member of the PSD, to try and put 2 high-pressure pump stations straight up the hill from Bruno, I would not vote for it. Sorry, Larry, but I would not.
Well, the other thing is there's a health department concern, and like, for instance, USDA, I'm not sure they put a small tank in.
I did one up at the PSD, at Mannington Public PSD, a 7,500 gallon tank off a 4-inch line to supply people. I did it just a few years ago.
That's okay.
Yeah, so they will approve
It's a
it.
few years.
Yeah, they will approve it. There've been smaller tanks put in. There's been 5,000 gallon tanks put in.
Like I say,
Yeah.
we'd have to get that called. But that's- Okay, any other questions? Comments?
Commissioner Chapman Roberts? I mean, I'm satisfied.
Questions?
It's all good.
Okay.
Keep doing a good job.
I'm supposed to be on a call, so.
Get to it. Sorry we ran late.
That's all right.
I use most of my bids, I use current bids. They're out there.
If that's, and you know, you might end up being right, but if I change my calls to yours, I'm probably gonna be about where you are. That's what I'm saying.
Well, here's, and I used higher
Patty, if you don't mind.
for meter services going
What's that?
forward. You know what?
Well, I'm gonna ask her real quick.
You can look at the bid sheet that they do
If
it
you
on
go
the
get your
lips.
copy of all the agreements and
Yeah.
all that stuff on
So,
trailer
like I
detail.
said, public information.
Okay,
And
well,
you don't need that
Oh,
on
yeah, I
site.
got what they sent us.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Give
the
us
thought
that
of
if you
trying to
don't
maintain that much pressure 24/7, 365, I think long term it's a. And I've been involved
This was
in,
the newest.
I don't know, 30-some projects over the last 20 years. I'm not an expert, but I know enough about it to have at least an idea. And no, I'm not an engineer. See you there.
That being said, we have a discussion by the commission on the train chiller unit warranty and repairs. Just reviewing what was last sent to the commission from Mr. Mills. The few concerns we had of the bid last time, he's addressed, including like the including of the liquids necessary and all that stuff. I'm not an engineer, and I'm not an HVAC guy, so bear with me. But anyways, where do we stand, and Patty, I'm gonna ask you too, where do we stand on, do we have a warranty or not? And we keep kicking it around, but I can't,
We do. I never heard back
yeah.
from Greg. So,
And was the warranty even from Train, or was it from Chillers? What was the company that installed it?
it was from Casto
Casto.
Technical Services.
So, are we still in any kind of agreement with Casto?
Not that I'm aware of,
And did the
but I
warranty,
never heard back from Greg.
did the warranty ever have like a expiration?
That's the problem, nobody could find the warranty,
Yeah.
but there was a warranty, an extended warranty purchased for 10 years. Now, was that extended from the manufacturer's warranty, or did that just take it to 10 years? That's the question. So, but there was an extra $2,200 that was part of a addendum into the bid that extended it for 10 years. So the language is basically that, it extended it for 10 years. Where did the 10 years start? Where did, you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Was it after the manufacturer's warranty of 5 years, which the manufacturer's warranty was 5 years? And that's why the purchase to extend it 10 years. And that's where the question is, in 10 more years or just maybe 10 years?
So I'm guessing that we're lying in between 10 to 15 years after it was purchased.
If it took it only to 10 years, we have no warranty.
Right.
If it extended it 10 years, we're good until 2020, probably 5 or 6.
Okay. Well, yeah, so that's definitely something.
Because it was 2011, I think it was installed. So it had a warranty basically in 2016. Now, if there was 10 years after that, that takes it to 2026. But if it was only 10 years beyond that, it actually already expired. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It would expire in 21.
Is this something perhaps we could get legal counsel involved in, just to try and decipher where that all stands?
Sure, do you have a copy of it?
Yeah, can we get all that to, Mr. Tucker, Craig, Patty, what all we have here?
Yeah, I've got the manual, and it's basically one sentence about the last page of that whole big thick manual that says that the extended warranty extended it to 10 years or 10 years.
Okay.
And I can show that to Greg, but without coming up with the warranty itself, which should have been in some of those manuals, and I can't find it. Now, I haven't looked in the second manual, which was basically the piping and things like that went along at the same time. So that's one thing maybe in that manual could be hidden in there somewhere. I wish John would have still been there because they were behind this whole thing and helped raise money that maybe they could actually get us money if we do have to replace it.
Okay, well, yeah, that sounds like something we could definitely follow up on. I didn't realize they were involved, so I'm glad you found that out. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, it's in the manuals too. They basically have raised the funding.
Wasn't there a project manager on that?
Greg Bessa,
So,
and I've been in touch with him.
but you haven't heard, he hasn't got back to
He
you?
hasn't responded. Yeah, you talked to him a couple weeks ago, because I remember you telling me.
I mean, we'd have to see the actual extended warranty. But it wouldn't make sense to buy a 10-year extended warranty and it only cover 5 years. I mean, that's only a 5-year extension.
Right, hopefully it would be a combined 15 years.
But it could be extended the original warranty to 10 years rather than 5. So it
Right.
just depends on the language in the document, but I would expect that Greg Besso would have should have a copy of
So
that.
he should have a copy of that, and so should Casto,
He
right?
told me normally he purchases records every 7 years because that's as long as he's required to keep them, but concerning what it was at the time, he may have just boxed them up and left them in his archives. So, because it has to do with the courthouse. And he would check over the weekend and get back with me. And of course, Monday was a holiday. I never heard back from him. Actually, I forgot to check back with him, but he was supposed to call me yesterday. He said Monday or Tuesday he'd get back with me.
And it might be in Region 4's records as well. If
So
not,
you
we'll
could
just
use-
request
yeah,
it from Casto.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, is if we requested from Tucker, Region 4, and Casto, surely they'd have a copy of it if they warranted it. Even if it was, regardless, maybe if it's run out, you'd think it would be something for start of the records. Hopefully.
Hopefully. Makes a big difference.
So if you could try and contact those three, Commissioner Chapman, if you get that stuff to Mr. Tucker.
You can wait until you're over the COVID if you'd like.
We won't rush it.
I'll hold it up for the camera.
Okay.
Yeah, just send me a picture.
Yeah, scan it for. Is there anything else on the train chiller unit warranty?
No.
Okay. That brings us to our commissioners' comments period. The only thing I had was acknowledging Commissioner Roberts, Delegate Hannah, and Governor Justice on the AED for Craigsville Little League. I encourage everybody to go out to the Cherry River Festival, not the Cherry River Festival, Potato Festival this weekend. Be a good time, and hope everybody goes out and enjoys everything that they have going on there. That's all that I have. Commissioner Chapman.
Thank John McGinnis for our new chairs.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, John. The chairs in here before were as old as I am, which that's not saying too much, but that's still 26 years. So anyways, yes, very good. That being said, is there a motion to adjourn this regularly scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission? Today is Wednesday, September 6, 2023, and it is 12:03 p.m.
Motion to adjourn.
Got a motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against? Motion does carry. We stand